Do you like working with PVC parts, but sometimes the parts that you need to use won't quite fit together and you need them to? In this video, I'm going to show you how you can easily adjust PVC parts to make them work perfect for you. So I really like to work with PVC parts, and something to keep in mind is that PVC parts are not just in the plumbing section. Don't forget that there are components in the irrigation section of the hardware store, and also electrical conduit also comes in PVC materials. So you know, there's a lot more different sizes and a lot more different components than just down the plumbing aisle of the hardware store. I really like working with PVC material because they comes in so many different shapes and sizes, and of course they manufacture it to go together, but it seems like you always find something else that's the right size and you want to adapt it, but it doesn't quite fit. Like sometimes you'll get lucky, like this is a 1 inch and this is 1 1/4 inch, and it will actually fit together, but most of the time you end up with something that you want this part to fit with that one and they don't quite match. You can't quite make it work, and that's what we're going to show you. So a quick easy example is that I wanted to make an extension for my shop vac wand, and I found some electrical conduit that was really close to the right size, but it wouldn't quite fit onto the wand pieces that I already had for my shop vac. So in this example, I used a piece of PVC electrical conduit, and I gently heated up one end and I forced it inside of one end of a shop vac wand extension, let it cool off, and then that became the perfect size. And then on the opposite end, I heated it up, and then I force it over the outside of the small end. And when I'm done, I ended up with an extension for my shop vac that's just the right size and it fits perfect. So I recently made a vacuum adapter for my palm sander so that I could connect it up to my shop vac. But the issue I had was that the PVC pipes that were available were not quite the right size to fit over the hose from my shop vac. So I needed to adjust the PVC pipe size so that it would fit over the shop vac hose. When I was finished, the PVC pipe fit perfectly over my shop vac hose and fit perfectly inside of the vacuum adapter. So let me show you how I did that. So the important thing is we need to find some rigid shape that we can force into the end of our PVC part when it's warmed up to hold the shape that we want it to be. So there's a lot of different things that you can put in there. Like I've got a regulator here that the gauge on it is almost the right size. You know, that would hold the shape once it's hot. But another really good tool for that is I've got a lot of different hole saw bits, and I believe that one of these is just about the perfect size to hold that shape once we get it warmed up. So I think I'm going to end up using one of these hole saw bits to hold my shape. So now it just becomes a simple matter of heating up the end of our PVC pipe to make it to where it's at a point where we can shape it. I typically use just a hot air gun. You know, you can use a propane torch or whatever, but you have to be really careful, because if you get it too hot, you can kind of see around the edge of this that it's got a little bit of discoloration right in here. If you get the parts too hot, they change color, and to me that doesn't look really nice. So take your time, go slow. I use the low setting on it. Keep heating it, keep moving it around. We'll go ahead and get this started. I think I'll go ahead and bump it up on high. We want to make sure that we're heating enough of the area that it will have enough room to open up our space, plus a little. You can see I'm starting to discolor right there. I want to stay away from that spot. You can kind of see a sheen start to develop on the outside of the plastic when it starts getting up to temperature. We're getting really close. I can grab a hold of it and change the shape of it. I just want to make sure that we don't have any trouble forcing it over our part here in just a second. There, I think we're good. Now all we have to do is get our collar in place, force it down over, and it's as simple as that. So what we need to keep in mind is as the PVC cools down, it is going to shrink, which means that it's going to get tight on our hole saw bit. So we want to make sure that we have the ability to get to the back side of it and drive that piece out if we need to. But you can see right there that it's fully seated in there. This should make it so that it will go over the end of our hose. All right, now that our part has cooled down, we can see if we can press this piece back out. The easiest way to do that is to take a hammer. All right, so there's our part. It held its shape. You can see it actually grabbed a hold enough that it left a little of the red paint on the inside from being hot. But now our part should fit right in there. We can fill that in with adhesive to hold that in place in that spot, but that should make it adapt from our shop vac hose to our PVC collar, and it should fit our part. So when you're working with PVC parts, you're not just limited to small adjustments to make it barely fit something else. You can make crazy, wild, super special sized brackets and adapters to do almost anything with it once it's heated up enough. So I've got a piece of pipe here, and we're going to turn this into a bracket. One thing I wanted to show you real quick is sometimes when you're heating it up and stretching it, it has a tendency to tear, especially from hard edges. So a trick with that is to just drill a hole where the corners are going to be, and that'll allow you to stretch it and not tear from a hard edge or a hard corner. So we're going to heat this up and turn it completely inside out just to show you how much flexibility you can have out of PVC pipe once it's heated up to its flexible plastic stage. So obviously it's going to get too hot to handle, so we want to make sure that we got a pair of gloves handy that we can throw on, and we are going to slowly heat this with the same fashion with our heat gun until we see that it's turning a nice sheen on the outside and that it's pliable, and then we can work with it. So let's get going on that. Now once again, I'm trying to not heat it too hot in any one spot. I want to watch to make sure I'm not discoloring it because it has a tendency when you get it way too hot, it will boil or bubble up. So I can see now that it's getting plastic and you can move it around. I still want to go a little ways farther. All right, so now you can see that it's super flexible. You can do almost anything you want. So you can change this to whatever shape you want it to be. If I want it flat, I could hold it against, like, say, the flat of the table. So you can hold it flat and it will start to hold its shape. We can heat it up again. If we wanted to turn it completely inside out, we could do that as well. If it doesn't quite turn the way that you want it to, or it loses its flexibility too soon, you can always reheat it. So let's say we wanted to completely make this wrap around the handle of, like, say, a screwdriver here and make it go completely backwards. And then just hold it, and it's going to cool down and become rigid again. And voila, just like that, you can see it's back to being rigid, and it holds whatever shape we want it to be, right? So there's my process for adjusting PVC parts so that they fit perfect. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel and ring the bell so that you have updates on all of my future videos that I release. And thank you for watching.